It's rainy and cold outside, so today is the perfect day to start some more seeds. Today I'm going to start some lettuce, 3 varieties, and some kohlrabi. I've gotten better about planning before I get started, so I've got all my seeds ready. I've also got labels for each of the seeds. I learned my lesson the hard way on that one. Last year, I thought, oh, I'm gonna remember. And of course I forgot and I mixed up everything that I planted. I found this cool little garden marker. It doesn't fade like regular markers. Comes in handy. Got my water. And here's the seed starting. It's a soilless mix, so you just get it nice and moist. So you can just see the moisture when you give it a squeeze. Nice and moist. Then all you do is you take your starter and you fill up your pots. I like to fill them up about, I push them down and I wait for them to be about halfway full for this first round. Then I'll drop the seeds in and then put another layer on top just to coat them really lightly. People recommend that you take your seed starting trays and wash them out and sterilize them every spring, which is probably a really good idea. However, I do lazy seed starting and I have never done that. If I saw that my original starts got fungus or died off, I probably would, but so it's a good idea, but you know. Okay, so I will fill up the rest of these and then put the seeds on and we'll go from there. Time to get your hands dirty. My seed trays are all filled, you know, a little over halfway, like I said, with the starting mix. And I should mention that the starting mix doesn't contain soil. It's meant to be sterile, so it usually contains some combination of peat moss or coconut coir, along with perlite and or vermiculite, the little white specks. It helps with moisture retention, and that's the goal. Is you want to keep all of your little seedlings moist at all time. If they dry out, that's when you're going to lose them. But they can't be too wet, or they get this damping off disease thing. So you gotta find the sweet spot. Anyway, here are kohlrabi seeds. They are pretty tiny. The lettuce ones are also very small. So I will put a couple in each little plug in the hopes that 1 or 2 pop up, and then we'll lightly coat them. Kohlrabi are all in, and the tags are also in. See, live and learn. So next up, I will start the lettuce seeds. So if you've never seen lettuce seeds, here's one kind. These are red romaine. Some seeds are black, some are light colored. They are all tiny, tiny though. So again, if you have extra, I'd put 2 or 3 seeds, maybe even 3 is usually what I go for, or more, in each plug, because you want at least 1 to have come up so you didn't waste that space. And then you can always trim the extras, even though it's hard. It's better to have too many than not enough. Okay, these seeds are now in and covered, and the last step, well, one of the last steps, is to give them a good watering in so that the seed makes good contact with the soil and you get rid of any air bubbles. And then once that's done, time to put them on the heat mats. One last thing about the soil starter, the not soil start. You don't need fertilizer when you're just starting seeds. Not sure if you knew that, but the seeds have enough nutrition in their seeds themselves to germinate. And it's only once you're ready to pot them up that it's better that you can put fertilizer in there to feed them. and help them grow. But don't waste your money if you're just starting some seeds. You don't need the kind with fertilizer in it. All right, so now what they do need is heat, water. That's about it. Most seeds don't even need light to germinate. There are a few, like celery and some of the herbs, some wildflowers, some of those that do need light to germinate, but most of the vegetable seeds that we'll be starting don't really need light either. So I have lights set up, but some of my seed starting areas don't have lights either, and it works just as well. Once they germinate, then you need to move them under the lights. For me, my problem is I'm out of space. I need 2 heat mats, which means 2 of these guys need to go. 2 in, 2 out. I'm out of space. The 2 trays are now in their temporary homes. They are on heat mats, and they are now covered with trays here. I keep the trays on to keep the moisture in until they start germinating. I'll take the covers off maybe once most of the seeds have germinated. And then they'll stay on the heat mat until they get the boot. For the heat mat, I do have a thermostat that goes like so into the soil, and it'll tell me what the temperature is. And these heat mats, I think they'll go, they turn off when it hits about 70, 71 degrees, 70 degrees, I think. So that little digital thermometer there will keep track. And right now it's cold because it had been outside of there for a little while, but that should warm up, make the seeds nice and toasty, and then they will sprout. We'll see how it goes. Oh, here's the other one. This one doesn't have any light on it. Like I said, it doesn't need it. And then eventually, once they sprout, I will have to figure out how to get them under the lights. That is a future Michelle problem. And by the way, who got the boot? The celery. I'm going to have to pot these up. These are going in the high tunnel, so they need to grow up and get out soon. We'll see. We'll see how these grow. Hopefully in maybe 3 to 5 days, these little seeds will start sprouting. One little side note, end note to this. Look at my sweet potatoes. They're finally showing signs of life. I might actually get some slips out of these sweet potatoes. After all, look at that. I need a lot more than 3, but hey, it's a start. All right, take care, guys. Just keep growing. Hi, my name's Michelle, and I might have a seed starting addiction.